Welcome back. In this video, we're finally going to test our backdoor. Now, we're going to see whether we get some errors during the compiling of the program. We're going to see if all of our commands work. So we will be testing uploading files, downloading files, and other commands as well. And if we encounter any error, we're going to fix it to make our backdoor fully work. Now, the first error that I want to change from the previous video is inside of our backdoor code. And what that is right here in the upload command, I didn't specify download file, I only specified download. And if I were to compile this program, this function would not work because there is no download function inside of our code. There is only download file function. Now that is the only error for now. Let us save this. And if we go and compile the program, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the backdoor.py to the home, Mr. Hacker, and then desktop. Then I'm going to paste the backdoor onto my Windows 10 desktop so I can compile it later. And right after it, I'm going to check out whether I set the IP addresses correctly. So what I got inside of our server and backdoor is the IP address of 192.168.1.12 and port 5555. Now, port is something that we do not need to change unless some other program is using it. But what we must check out before running both of these programs is our IP address. So in my case, it does match. My IP address is 192.168.1.12. So I can straight away start my server. It will listen for the incoming connections, and while it is listening, I will go and compile my backdoor. So for this, I will open the command prompt, I will navigate to the desktop directory, and if you remember the command, we must run pyinstaller, then the name of the program, and then --1 file, and --no console. Once we specify this command right here, then we can press enter. Now what you can do after you test out this program and it works successfully, then you can apply other methods such as making it look like an image, something that we already covered before, to make your backdoor even more trustable to the target so they can execute it. Our compiling of the program has finished, and here we get those 4 files. These 3 we can delete straight away, and all we need is this directory. We have our backdoor.exe, and if we run it, remember that inside of our code, it will wait for 20 seconds before establishing connection to the server, and hopefully in just a few seconds, we should see right here a shell pop up on the target system. And here it is. We got the connection from 192.168.1.4, which is Windows 10 machine, and it is initiating the connection from this port number. Now let's test out all of the commands that we applied to our code. So first of all, let's start with simple commands such as simple command prompt commands, which are whoami, ipconfig. Let's run netstat to see whether we are going to be able to see all of the connections that our Windows 10 target machine has, and we do manage to see it. If I type dir, I will only see backdoor.exe because inside of the this directory, we only have backdoor.exe program. Now comes the crucial part. Are we going to be able to change the directory to one step back and see the contents of the desktop directory? Let's give it a try. If I type the command cd and then 2 dots, press enter, run dir command, and here it is. We successfully changed the directory to the desktop directory. Let's try to go to some other directory. Let's for example go one more directory back. So if I type once again, type dir, and here it is. We're one directory back and we can change the directory from here. If I go to documents, now I am inside of the documents directory, so I can successfully change the directory to whichever folder I want. Now, before we continue with execution of other commands, let us navigate back to the desktop directory on my Windows 10 machine, and from here, let us test out whether we can upload and download files. So what I got inside of my tools directory on my Cal Linux machine is I got this tester.txt file. And this is simply just a txt file that says hello world. What we want to do is we want to see whether we are going to be able to upload this file to the target system. So let's give it a try. If I go right here and type upload tester.txt. Now, before you run this command, make sure that the file that you're trying to upload is in the same directory as your server.py. Otherwise, you will need to specify the full path to that file, because if you don't, this will not work and it will probably crash. So let's give it a try, since tester.txt is in the same directory as both of my programs. If I press enter, let's go to our Windows 10 desktop, and here is the tester.txt. If I open the file, here it opens hello world. So we successfully managed to upload the file to the target machine. This file wasn't here before we ran our program. Now let's see whether we can still execute commands. Maybe it crashed something. So if I run whoami, I can still execute more commands. Let's give a try to the download function. So in this case, we're going to download something from the Windows 10 desktop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a notepad and I'm going to write something. So for example, this is a file from the Windows 10 machine. I'm going to save it onto my desktop as a try download me.txt. So here it is on the desktop, and if I go right here, type dir once again, we should see that file inside of our dir output. Let's give it a try and try to download it. So download try download me.txt. One more thing, make sure you specify the name correctly, otherwise it will also crash, because if you specify a name of the file that doesn't exist, it will not be able to find it. So if I press enter right here, it will take a few seconds, and if I go inside of my backdoor directory, type ls once again, here we have try download me.txt file. If I cat it to see the contents, here it is. This is a file from the Windows 10 machine. So our commands work successfully. The one last command that we must give it a try is the clear command. So if I type clear, it will clear our screen and we will be able to execute other commands in a more clear terminal. Great, everything works as we planned. Now, the one last command that we must test is the quit command. So if I go to my task manager, while I still didn't close the backdoor, you should see backdoor.txt running as a background process on the Windows 10 machine. But if I type quit, it will close the server from the Kali Linux machine, but let's see whether it will also close the backdoor in Windows 10 machine. And it does indeed close it. We no longer see backdoor.txt process right here inside of our task manager. So everything worked as we planned. All of the commands that we applied are working successfully. Now, what you can do from here is you can try applying different commands and making this backdoor even better. You can try adding a keylogger in Python. You can try creating a persistence using registry. You can try executing screenshots, and all of this I do in my Python 3 hacking course. But since this is a beginner course in complete ethical hacking, we will stop here and we're going to focus on some other subjects from the next video. But you can improve this program a lot if you learn Python and add even more functions to this program. Nonetheless, this is another project that we did successfully, and in the next section, we're going to touch on a big subject of web app penetration testing. See you in the next video.